Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to Hands Across the Water live show. With us, as usual, is Baz. How are you keeping, Baz?
Absolutely buzzing. So looking forward to tonight's show. The American takeover is complete and we're ready to rock.
Ready to rock. I know I've had the American tunes on the Alexa all weekend,
Uh,
getting prepared for it.
I've been watching
Finally,
I, I've been watching the Hulk Hogan. Some of the crackers with Hulk Hogan and the American. They're absolutely brilliant.
mm,
So brilliant.
yeah, it's been a long time coming. As I say, loads of talk about Baz. We've got Thelwell and stuff has been announced today by the club, um, and Dan Purdy as well. But we haven't actually been on live since the takeover. That's what happens when you're working days. Yeah, sometimes you just can't always get on straight away, unfortunately. But what's your first thoughts on it, Baz? We'll get a wee picture up of the our two main guys. It's going to hopefully take us forward. But what's your thoughts, Baz, on the takeover finally getting done, mate? A lot of excitement.
Well, it's every Rangers fan has had to be so patient with this happening, haven't they? I mean, every day we've been waiting on the breaking news. The American Revolution is now underway, and finally it is back. And my God, this has given such a buzz around the whole of the Rangers support. It's absolutely fantastic. This is exactly what the club needed. A big boost, a big injection, something for the fans to get their mojo back and start looking forward to things. This is fantastic. This really is a big thing to happen at Rangers Football Club, and I cannot wait to see what's coming next. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, no, 100%. As we've said in past shows, and also anyone that's listening, we've got new microphones, so let us know if they're coming across. Jeff has said, "Thank God, finally over the line." Jeff, let us know if our mics are sounding good, mate. We've got new equipment, and we're hoping it's all working, but we're tweaking as we go along. So this is the first time trying it, so hopefully it's coming across all clear and good for everyone that's listening. Um, but yeah, no, it's great to have it done, Baz. As we've said as many times before, we were going nowhere as a club. You know, thanks to the ones that were in charge, we understand the Rangers men, they tried their best. Good businessmen, having a clue about running a football club or a sports club, and that there's why it didn't work out. But these guys, Barry, I know you've got a wee bit of a lot better and way clearer than it has been. Happy days, Jeff. Great news. Thanks for that, mate. Thanks for that feedback. That's good. So it's basically Baz. Um, it's exciting now that we've got professional guys to come in with the back and with the money as well. We understand, yeah, there's billions out there. The 49ers are worth a lot. You can't spend that with FFP, but they've said they're going to put the 20 million investment in. That's obviously just going to be a start. I would say the club's already had reserves, Barry, anyway, for this transfer window before the takeover was even completed, plus any player sales and stuff. So if it's done right, Barry, and in investments, it's going to take a couple of windows, maybe more, but at least now we can go forward with a bit of optimism rather than having the fear. Don't know what you think about that.
Optimism is what every Rangers fan has wanted. They've wanted something to cling on to, something that they can see progress, something they can see some type of positivity. Because let's be honest, the last decade has been terrible. We've been so many miles behind. It's been ridiculous. So that these owners are well used to massive sports franchises. The
Mm-hmm.
49ers are absolutely huge in America. Massive corporation. What now I know Cavan is not involved with Leeds, but a lot of these guys are. Look what they've done with Leeds United. Look at the money the outgoings that's happened with that club with in terms of players.
Yeah.
A lot of their best players were sold. They recruited in well, spent nowhere near the money that went out, and got Leeds promoted back into the Premier League. So them type of models for us is huge. These guys know what it takes to run a huge enterprise and make it better. And what I would say is, as you know, William, when we're talking about English football, I would follow Leeds, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I have seen McCarthy especially down there and the 49ers, and I've seen the positive things that they've done. And it's not just about you know, on the field, and it's off the field as well. They're very, very good with the communities around these football clubs, and everything that they put in. It's absolutely fantastic. And what I would say is, in my experience and what I've seen with these guys, is every Rangers fan should be absolutely buzzing. And I firmly believe these guys will take us back to where we belong.
Yes, no, I agree, mate. Definitely. Jeff's just asked her to talk us 20 million to spend this summer. Is this true? Well, they have says that there's 20 million invested. That's what they're going to put in initially. Um, that has to get passed, I think, an EGM or something later on this month. But that'll be for mostly, I would say, transfers. But people's getting caught up with this 20 million. I know the ones across the city are enjoying that, saying 20 million. What's that going to do? It won't just be 20 million. It's a 20 million added on to what we probably already had on reserves for this season, going into this transfer window. Plus the likes of we don't want to say it, but if a Nico Raskin was to go, or whoever, you know what I mean, different players could go. That's going to be added in the end of the pot to coming back in. But I would like to see us keep Nico Raskin and stuff like that. I don't think we're in a position now that we have to sell, which is a good thing. And we don't have that many great top assets, Baz. I don't think either. Being honest, there is a few there. But yeah, I think it'll be definitely more than the 20 million. So we'll just go through this news, Baz, as quick as we can. We'll get out with the old, and then we can start coming in with the new. So Niels Coppin has today, he's left the club. The Americans are taking no prisoners, and they're not wasting any time, Barry, of getting people out and new guys in. What are your thoughts on Niels Coppin? I thought, there's been bad parts. I was just looking earlier, looking through players. Bajrami, Proper, Cortez, you could say are the bad ones. Yefty, bringing Tierney in on loan, bringing Diomande in, and Egaman are probably the ones that you're saying are the good points. I would say would like say Egaman there from where he's come from. That's probably a market Rangers have never looked in for before, Barry. But maybe a guy that's just maybe failed the job at the wrong time. I don't know. But he's not there any longer. But yeah, what do you think of his time at the club?
You could look at it in lots of different ways. As you simply pointed out there's some positives, there's some negatives. Um, Niles Coppin's a very difficult one. I mean, the thing about the 49ers is the 49ers were always going to bring in their own people. And these guys are ruthless. They're a ruthless bunch. And obviously Niles Coppin wasn't to their taste, or wasn't who they wanted. So they've brought in their own guys, and that's normal for any new ownership, to bring in people that they know and they trust, and who they think is going to be the best person to run Rangers Football Club. And Niles Coppin obviously just wasn't at the grade that they believed is going to take us there. So it's a difficult one, William, because he's had that many roles at Rangers. He's been that many different fingers in the pie, as I would say. He doesn't really know. I never really understood exactly what his main role was, if I'm being honest. And that was just down to the structures of Rangers, of not having sporting directors and not having these people in place. I think that was a huge problem. Like, he wasn't a complete disaster, and he wasn't absolutely brilliant. So when you look at the time he spent at the club, the time probably was now to move him on and bring guys in who see where Rangers need to be and take us to the next level. And that, as I say, William, that goes from the board, and I've said this many times, that goes from the board down till the players. It's getting us to the next level. And Niles Coppin will always be welcome back at Ibrox. You know what I mean? I think he'd give everything that he possibly could to the football club. But again, if we want to go to the next level, we need the upper game, and we need to bring in better people.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that, Baz. As I say, it's just, if I'm being honest, the guy came in as a scout. That's what his job was when he first came in. The next minute, he got promoted from within. The club was a shambles at the time. Clement obviously got his contract extension, which was a bit strange to everyone. Niels Coppin was then obviously getting promoted from within. It was just the amateurish way the club was being run at the time.
Yeah.
And going forward, hopefully that's not going to be the way it is. But yeah, thank him for his time. As I say, I think it would have been hard for anyone coming at that stage, because Rangers at that stage, as Clement was told himself, sell, sell, sell before you can buy anyone. That's just the way it is. The likes of the Bajrami thing, Barry, as well. If we're being honest, I think the club, Neil's club, was looking at other players. It ended up, we've said this before, it went from option A to B, C, and D. And we ended up getting Bajrami in, which has been an absolute shambles. The Cortez one for me is probably the biggest news round Neil's Copman's neck, if I'm being honest, when it comes to giving him that contract when we knew he had an injury. That's came back to bite us in the arse. That's happened far too many times. So for me, that was the biggest decision that he's done that was wrong. But I'll also look at Diamandi and Igaman and say they were ones that were good. But now we will move on to some more of the positive stuff, Baz. And when do you think of this here then? Kevin Thelwell then, Barry. We sort of knew he was coming in. Obviously, the last few weeks and months we've known that's going to happen, but it's finally happened today. Obviously, his contract with Everton has ended, and it seems to be, looking at the Everton fans and what they've got to say about him, they seem to say he done a good job under the circumstances that they had there.
Well, Everton has had serious problems in terms of how much money they can spend. They've been restricted to what they could spend. I mean, Everton were docked points for the financial fair play. So what he actually did at Everton was quite unique. He by the way, he also there was players that was involved with him that were sold on for quite large sums of money in his tenure. Everton did make money with him there. The fact that he's obviously operated in the Premier League, and whether you agree or not, the Premier League probably certainly is one of the top leagues in the world. And I would say his experience with Everton and who he has worked with at Everton, the likes of Carlo Ancelotti for one. There's not if you can work with a top coach like that, and you can work with that magnitude of a man and get praise from him, well, he's obviously doing something right. So yeah, I think it's a great appointment, and everything at the end of the day is the proof's always in the pudding. Let's see what he does. Let's see how he starts off. Let's see what he builds, and yeah, I'm excited about that appointment. Some Rangers fans might have been looking maybe a bigger name, but if they look deep into this guy, they'll actually see that his attributes and his connections and his overall well respectability is very, very high. So yeah, I think it's a very good appointment, and it's an appointment that we've been looking for a long time. We haven't had a guy coming in with this finesse and this sort of passion to improve himself, and obviously he'll hopefully improve Rangers.
Yeah, no, definitely, Buzz. This is it. This is what we need to. We just needed to get ourselves a bit more professional. Then we get the people into the roles that know exactly what they're doing. No faffing about and being amateurish. It's time to be professional and really get our club uh, rocking and rolling. And it looks like that's what they're starting to do. Just quickly, Felwell says this is a new chapter for Rangers, and while we recognise success won't come easy, our goal is clear. We need to win. My focus is on delivering that with discipline and ambition. We'll give everything to move this club forward as quickly and substantially as we can. So that's what we need to do. It says he's got his own man in with him, Barry, as well now, that he's worked with for. He's quite young, actually, Dan Purdy. Just looking at a wee bit of his history, he's done quite well. He's been at Everton for a while now. He worked, I think it was, at Sheffield United and also Liverpool for a wee while, I think I'm right in saying that. So he's he is young, but he's definitely coming with pedigree, and obviously Thelwell trusts him. And he's brought his man in a bit like the managers do these days. They bring their staff with them, and it looks like Thelwell's brought him in. So it's exciting times, Baz.
Well, it's also there's a common denominator that the two of them have worked together, and the two of them know each other's strengths, and that's a huge thing. The 49ers are businessmen. They're looking at people that they believe can push forward to what they've bought into. And if these guys weren't up to scratch, they wouldn't be there. That's my firm belief. The track record of the 49ers and Kavanagh, etc., they're winners. They improve things anywhere they go. They make things better. So on that basis, I will trust the new owners that these guys are the right people. And as Rangers fans, we must get behind these guys and put our full trust into them. And see, at the end of the day, the way things have been for years there, it can't get any worse. It just can't. Things can only get better.
Yeah, well, just quickly here, Jeff saying that Clement's very close to becoming the Sparta Prague manager. Good luck and good riddance. No, we'll see. Yeah, no, that's a bit cutthroat, but sure. No, that's a decent sized club, so hopefully it works out well for him. It just wasn't going to work out at Rangers, but at the end
Look,
of the day, we know that's like.
I'll
Face
touch
what they
very
ask.
slight.
Oh,
I'll
go
touch
ahead.
very slight. Let me just touch very slightly on Clement. Clement's pedigree outside of Scotland has been very high. He's done very, very well in all the previous teams around Europe. I actually think I think this is a job that'll work for him. Scottish football is not for everybody. That's a fact. So what I would say is it wouldn't surprise me, William, going to Sparta Prague, that he actually done very well and he won stuff with them. It wouldn't surprise me. As I said, just quickly, I don't know I'm repeating myself, but Scottish football is so difficult to get your head around. But best of luck, tell him at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Just quickly, Barriers, Faith Donaghy asking who's your favourite player. That's a tough ask at the minute, but I'm probably going to guess it. But
It's obvious. It's Nico Roskin. I mean, that's just that's the only player that he's the only player that I look at this moment in time and think I genuinely have a really, really top player on our hands on current form. I know some people might argue like Mane and stuff, but he's a development player. I think
Mhm.
I think Roskin is at a level now where he's playing in Belgium's national team. He's getting lots of minutes, and he really looks a real deal. William, he for me, he's my favorite player. Plus the fact is, I've been advocating for months now that he be the new captain, and that's how highly I rate him. I love his ethos around the pitch, William. I love the way he conducts himself. I love the way it just like that the way as Rangers fans you've got that blue blood just running through you. That's what I get from
Yeah,
Nico Roskin. So he's my favorite.
there you go, Faith. Barry's answered that. I'll just say I'd probably have to go for similar. Nico Roskin, I think he's probably made for at the minute. A bit like everybody else. There is some players or GFD as well. I think GFD was a fan favorite for a while. At the start, he
Oh,
sort of tailed off, but he's young, and that's just what way it works out. I think he'll be fine but it was just he just didn't end the season very well. He started it well,
well,
didn't end it too good for me.
William,
Hmm.
if you asked our dad about JFD, you wouldn't get the same response.
No, he's dad's done with Morelli. Get him out. He's useless. That's what my dad would say. But no, I think he'll be fine. That's the young players. I mean, it's just you have to see. There's potential there. That's what I'm saying. I think there's potential there. There's some players for me. Like if I'm being honest, the Tavernier situation, he's done well in the time. It's time to move on. Likes of
Yeah,
proper time to move on. He's never going to give you anything. Never. No, get him out. You know what I mean? There's going to be other players as well that we can tell. We can just basically round them off. But potential there with Yefty. You never know. He could come good. Hopefully he does. There's David Boardman saying Dave King has gave the 49ers his backing. That's good enough for me. Club went downhill ever since King left the board. What do you think of that one, Baz?
yeah, I totally 100% agree with that. I totally agree with that. Like, what I would say is that in David's obviously, we're talking about the Gerrard era when we stopped the 10 in a row and we won the 55. I actually thought the feelings that I have right now, where we're going to kick on, where there was something good happening, where we're going to move on. But when Dave King did move off, the board fell to complete crap, didn't it? Really, like, let's be honest, the board was awful. It's been awful for years since Dave King hasn't been there. So, but once again, Dave King has got involved with these guys. He scrutinized them. He made sure before they invested in this club that they had every attribute to move it forward, to make it better. He did do that, William. He made sure they had the money. I'm sure, to be fair, I would say when he actually did see the money, it was probably eye watering even for himself. He's a wealthy man, but these guys are on a different level, even to Dave King. But David's 100% correct. But what I would say is Dave King has always had Rangers at the forefront of his heart. He's always wanted what's best for them. So I'm with David. If he's given the backing, 100%.
Yeah. No, David's a good supporter of the channel and the page has been from day one. Really appreciate that. He's one of us, one of the Ulster Bears. He's helped the page out quite a bit, especially more recently. So we appreciate that, mate. Thanks for commenting. We do appreciate everything you do for the page. Anyone that's listening, anyway, if you have any comments or anything you want to say, or you just want to put, the show's yours. At the end of the day, we can point at any direction. Just fire in anything you want, and we'll go through it. What about a wee bit of rumours then, Baz? We'll go through the Jamie or the Vardy one. What do you think of this? Crap image there. It's not the greatest. I blame you, Barry. You sent me that one.
Well, I just thought because he was old, that was an old picture.
But I don't know. It's some people are for. I'm just looking at this. I seen it on Sky Sports or Sport. I know it's all rumours, and I think if we're being honest, this is just the way it's going to be with Rangers for the foreseeable. Rumours galore. But I think when Sky Sports said Barry, it adds a wee bit more to it that there might be something in it. Yeah.
Well, there's obviously been some type of contact. I mean, these Sky Sports and Talk Sport don't really get involved with these things unless there's a wee bit of substance to it. There has to be something, you know what I mean? Look, we've seen this with Jermaine Defoe. Jermaine Defoe came up and done a job for Rangers when Gerrard was there. Now, I don't see any reason why Vardy can't come up and do a job. Now, I do understand a lot of the fans. The fans are wanting, our player, we've wanted a player trading model that we bring young in, move them on. Yes, that's a really good thing, but sometimes it's always good to have, an experienced player around the training ground and around the team. I would take him. I wouldn't want to pay astronomical wages for him. I don't think Rangers should be doing that. I wouldn't like to see Vardy coming up and getting 50, 60 grand a week. I think that would be just madness. Because at the end of the day, he has been a good player, but he's never played in Scotland either. We've seen this with Aaron Ramsey coming to Rangers. That didn't work out, and he came from Juventus. He was, and by the way, a lot younger, more in his prime than what Vardy is. If the price is right in terms of wages, why not bring him in? I know this has really divided fans, William. I've seen it all over the socials. A lot of people are definitely no, keep him away. A lot of people are bring him in. Look, he's a free transfer. If the wages are okay, why not? Why would you not have him around the team? If you look at the Old Firm games next season or the games that we were struggling in last year, away to St Mirren, away to Motherwell, he could be the guy that comes off the bench or maybe has that bit of quality that can actually go and win them games for you. Mightn't play 90 minutes, but he might give you what you need off the bench, because off the bench we've been poor all season. For me personally, if you're asking me, should we bring him in? If the price is right, yes.
If the price is right, well, this is the thing, it's all about wages, isn't it, Baz? But I don't think we're ever going to get to the stage where we're going to be paying silly wages. I just don't think that's going to happen. A bit like the Jermaine Defoe, who came in, done a job for one season, then obviously he gets caught up and he was a wee bit more of a bit part player in the second half of the season, or second season, sorry, for us. He didn't really get on. I think Defoe sort of wanted to find somewhere else after that because he wanted to be playing, but he enjoyed himself when he was here. Hopefully Vardy could do something similar if he was to come in. As I say, it's all rumours at the minute, but we don't have anyone like that up front, really, and a bit of experience. And as you say, if he's bringing on the likes of young Eggman and stuff and showing them the ropes and teaching them the way, then fair enough, But it's one of those things, Barry. I'm not going to get too down on who comes in or who doesn't. I'm just going to let these guys, the manager, when he comes in, make his decisions, let the board make their decisions and see how they go and trust them, I think that's the way to go. And, well, because it's easy to go down on certain things and be annoyed about certain signings. But the Vardy one for me, we'll just see how it goes. Vardy plays on the defender. Scottish team sit deep against us, might not work out for him. And that's another thing, if you're looking space in behind, you're not going to really get that, are you, Baz? In Scottish football, we know this.
No, well, you don't. But at the end of the day, it's up to us as a team to is to try and get these players, try and get this slow block out of it. We're gonna have to identify that because as hard as the low block is, them as across the city don't have problems with low blocks. They whop these teams every week. So we need to be looking at that sort of way with the way they play and how they draw these players out and how they constantly bombard the goals and get these 3-4-0 wins for regular. That's what we need to get. I mean, look, if Jimmy Vardy doesn't sign, am I going to be disappointed? No. What I would
I know,
say
it's
is,
just, yeah.
what I would say is, we've got this new ownership. They've got lots of money, blah blah blah, and the first person I'm linked with is a 39-year-old free transfer from Leicester. I think there's a bit of an issue there as well. That the fans are going, really, the money that we could have in this club when we're bringing in Jamie Vardy. John Allen makes a good point. Would you rather take Shanklin than Jamie Vardy? Well, you probably would, and the fact that Shanklin knows how to play against these defenders. For me, I would rather not have Shanklin there. That's being honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of Shanklin. I think he plays when he wants to play, and he downs tools when he wants to. And I don't really think that type of player for me, regardless of being a Rangers fan or not. It just doesn't sit with me. I'd like to see a good young dynamic striker.
Well, I actually don't mind Shanklin. I like Shanklin, but I think the problem for him last season, Baz, as well, he didn't get the same amount of goals, but they played him the wrong position. They played him in a 10. They eventually, I think the last game of the season, they played him as on his main striker role, and he went and bagged 2 goals. So he was played in the wrong position. But as you say, is that time? Is that? I think that was the season, Barry, when we were pushing for the league under Clement at that window when we didn't, and we were like, get him, and we should have got him then. If we
Okay.
had got him then when he was back, I think we'd have won the league that year, definitely. We didn't. But is that ship sailed? Don't know. David Boardman saying, think Vardy could be potential, but would be a pay-as-you-play contract. I mean, when we signed for Franny Jeffers and James Beattie, I still have nightmares. We need a manager in place first. All joking aside. Oh, Jesus, remember them two, boss? And they came
Oh,
with some
jeez.
flipping potential. What I mean? Like, at the time,
Well,
what I mean? But James Beattie had done well down south and stuff. I think he was Southampton and Everton, and that just didn't work out in the end for us.
well. Let's talk about Francis Jeffers first of all. Francis Jeffers had a big move to Arsenal. Didn't work out. When we got Francis Jeffers, he wasn't scoring goals. He wasn't really doing anything. Francis Jeffers came to us trying to recreate something that he'd done when he was about 16. So that's why that didn't work, and he just didn't have the right attitude. James Beattie was a different. James Beattie was very much on the decline when we got him. Jamie Vardy's different. Jamie Vardy's just come up a Premier League season where he scored a few goals for a very, very underperforming team. That's what I would say about them two. They're a couple of the worst strikers I've seen at Rangers in a long time. They were pretty poor. Like they were like Austinstad sort of crap. That was sort of
Oh,
nonsense.
jeez.
You know,
Ooh.
awful, awful. But David has a very good point. We need a manager in first place. Yes, the thing with the sporting directors and all is they're going to be recruiting regardless of who the manager is and who the coach is going to be. That's their job. Their job is to try and get players in straight away. If Jeff says Ronaldo, well, I think we have more chance of getting the fat Ronaldo than we do the Portuguese one. To be to be honest with you, um,
This is why I
another
like doing these live shows. 1 minute you're talking about Thelwell coming in, next minute you're bringing up nightmares of Franny Jeffers, James Beattie. This is what live shows are all about. I mean? It can go any direction. This is why I love when the Patreon ones are listening back. They're probably going, "What direction is this going?" But we just follow the flow of the commenters, or ones that are commenting. Ronaldo, I don't think that one's going to happen. But there was a wee bit of rumors about fuck me. Who was the rumors about Baz from Real Madrid?
oh, look at
I mean,
Modric.
look at Modric for me. What a player! I'd say it's all rumors, hearsay. It's probably not going to happen, but crack a wee player all the same.
Well, the only thing I would say, William, is of some of these players that we're being linked with, I can potentially see a second film of Dad's Army. You know, We don't want to go down. We don't want to go down the road of saying, yes, Luka Modric's a great name, Jamie Vardy's a great name, but we can't have too many. We can't, we don't want to end up with a very old team. We need to have a youthful team with that player trading model. I think that's very, very crucial. Maybe one or two, but I wouldn't like to see too many older players coming in.
Well, one or two cripples, just not that full team of them, is that what you're saying?
Well, we might as well sign for them then.
But me, I don't know. I was doing the back garden and my fucking hamstrings are aching. And all I was doing was just sorting the back garden. I don't think I could do much running, Baz, at all.
No.
There's our Gary Hines. I remember I was in stand. The eagle crash landed on that one. Jeez, he was brutal. Fuck me, he was brutal. I was quite young.
He was awful. Awful.
Was he play? Did he play for Blackburn as well, Baz? At one stage,
he did, and he was crap there too. But you see, he was. Remember, do you remember brought your man Gale up as well? Remember your man Gale that played for Wimbledon? Gale, he came for like 6 months or something. He was absolutely horrific. This is when we used to go down to the English divisions and get these players up and hope they were going to do something, and they were absolutely woeful. Crap.
Yeah, there was a lot of crap players to be fair. What about
Joey Barton? There's another one.
Oh Jesus, that was another crap one. Like definitely. Oh, see when you think this is what I'm saying. It's good to get a wee bit of excitement again. We've had so many bad memories, like especially I tell you, this last few years, as we know, everyone listening, like as I say, going off topic a bit, like but where nobody deserves this excitement of new owners coming in and the excitement of maybe talking about getting these players and than we do. We have been through a tough shift supporting Rangers, and I'm talking about everyone that's listening, anyone that will be listening afterwards. Like we have stuck by this club. I remember the very bottom of Scottish football. We were travelling in the boat. Gary Hines there, who's commented, we're going over the air. We went to Cowden Beef away. We've done it all. And it was fun actually at the time. You know what I mean? But you know yourself, after a few, I think the Motherwell when we didn't get up Barry the first time at the championship, that was when it sort of hit home. Going, Jesus, this isn't going to be maybe as easy as we thought it was. But I think it's good that we finally now have this excitement. And we deserve it. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? No club deserves it more. And I'm hoping they get it right, Barry. And as I say, it mightn't be overnight. We know that. But if we see just things happening and, as you say, younger, fitter team and the whole club getting an injection and the support as well, buzzing for next season, and we see ourselves just with a bit of hope, and we see progression on and off the field, I think we'd all take that, wouldn't we?
Well, I think for me, once the next coach is in, the next new era must be a new captain, and I'm going to put that in there because Gary, I think Gary's watching here, and so I'm going to ignite a fire in Gary Hines here, in the new captaincy, because I think if you're going to go new era, you're going to go new era all across, and it has to go that direction for me too. I think we need to go away from the past failures, and like some people like Tavernier, some people don't. But the reality is, he's not for, if you're looking at this whole new thing of what we're trying to do. I don't think he's the right guy to lead the team in the pitch. I don't think he's the right guy to do that. If anyone wants to comment on that about Tavernier, whether they want him to be captain or not, go ahead. Because for me, in an ideal world, I'd like to see Nico Roskin sign a new contract and give the captain's armband. Now, that's what I personally think.
Well, there's Stephen Smith agreeing with you. But that would be a statement, Baz, wouldn't it? I think if they just come out, and I know there's nervousness about Roskin going to get it. And the problem is, guys, this is the facts, as we know. When they go into the last 2 years of your contract, the way Nico Roskin has, you need to make a decision. You have to sort of go, right, this is where you're potentially high, you can sell, or get the new contract signed. This is where we need to be saying the players one or the other, because we've seen the likes of Morelos, we've seen the likes of Kent, we've seen them all. We haven't sold at the right moment, and then we've been like, right, well, it's run down to the last year. Look, we'll maybe have discussions with them, try and get them. They're not signing the contract. Then it goes into the last 6 months. They're gone. They go for nothing. They get sign-on bonuses and stuff, and their agents are happy. However, we need to look at the likes of Nico Roskin now, and just, as you say, Baz, just put it on the table and say, listen, we see you as the future of this club, as a captain, as people want.
Yeah.
Here's what you're getting. Sign a 3-4 year contract, whatever it may be. There you go, son. Do you want it? And see if he signs it and he comes out as the Rangers captain, like, everyone's delighted. But if he doesn't go for that and he goes, I want to keep my options open and that, then you just have to go, right. Then you have to look at your options to say maybe selling at the right time, But I would love to see Nico Rosson staying, definitely.
I think that's what has to happen. I'm hoping that's what happens, because when you look at there's no point having a new board, there's no point having new sporting directors, there's no point having this injection of money, and then us watching the team running out in the first game of the season with, for me, a captain who doesn't lead the team well. If you're starting the season with your first game, and everybody's going to be all over this. You see, our first 10 games, especially with a new coach, everybody's going to be all over Rangers, seeing how they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, William, you're right. If he can, let's be positive. Let's say he signs a new contract, he gets handed the captaincy armband. Can you imagine the first game, him leading that team out? It would be like the old Barry Ferguson when he got the first captaincy, William, the chest out, walking the team, the leader of men, walking the team out. That's what as much as the good things are happening at the minute, the only thing the fans end up caring about at the end of the day is how that team performs in the park and whether they get 3 points and they win silverware. That's the end game. For me,
Mm-hmm.
that's the end game. And I'm 100% behind that. I really hope that happens.
Yeah. There's guys saying exciting times of genuinely good feelings for the first time in a very long time. I badly needed. Totally fresh start is happening. That needs to follow top and bottom, and I'm confident it will. And I'm telling you guys, Gary Hines is a good friend of ours. And see, to try and get him excited. This guy used to be like myself, really excited, love it. And he's right. I think it's ripped the heart out of him, like it has most of the sport. And Gary's been a lot more dubious of not trying to get overexcited, because obviously he doesn't want to get the feelings broke like it happens to all of us. But to see Gary saying he's excited, he's buzzing, is a good thing. And that's just what the injection we all needed. Baz, as I said earlier, wasn't just give us that wee boost again and let's get us firing,
But you make a point there. You take Gary and our dad, right? The two of the most ruthless supporters you'll ever meet in your life. They're mental at times. They're very, very demanding. And I have actually seen with both of them a bit of that mojo back. A wee bit of, do you know what? There's something good. There's something coming here. There's something good coming. I think we can see something really positive. And when you can start to turn them types of demanding fans, then you're on to a winner. The red, we're half glass, it's half empty, or it's half full, you're sort of sitting on the fence. So when you can see these guys getting excited, then I think Rangers have really, really got on to a winner here.
Yeah, definitely, mate. 100%. There's the 100%. I like Rosson, but if big money offer comes in, we have to accept it. Lost too many players for free recently with Hadzi Elias. Well, that's the truth, Baz. And I'll tell you another thing, Barry. I don't know if you noticed. I think you seen the comments. A lead supporter was on our a Heart and Hand, who's also a Rangers supporter, and he put up something similar. But and you being a Leeds man as well, obviously you'll know us better than me. But it seems to be, a lot of the Leeds fans, basically what this Leeds guy was saying, basically was, look, the sold players at the time that we were like, what the hell are they selling them for? But if you trust in the process, they're good at reinvesting, and that the proof's in the pudding. Leeds lost, I'll say, our coach, their best players, added in fresh young talent for cheaper, got themselves to the Premier League.
If that's the case and that works, brilliant. Yeah, 100%. It did happen at Leeds. And Leeds lost players like Somerville. They lost Gray, Archie Gray. They lost Reuter. They lost some big names, and they replaced them with very good names. Now, granted, they brought a lone player in to replace Somerville, but the club was still the club, even though the players were going. And by the way, they got huge amounts of money for these guys. Really top. Like, Leeds were in the Championship, and they did not allow the Premier League teams to come and just take their players away for nothing. They made the Premier League pay for these players, and Nico Raskin will be the same. they'll not let Nico Rosson go for next to nothing. They'll make sure whatever club comes in for him, they will pay top dollar. The only thing I would say is the fact that he's down to 2 years. That does change things a wee bit because he's not in a long-term contract. He's now getting until the year before where he's on his last year. So Rangers need to sort something out there. Either tie him down or David Drake. If the big money comes in, move him on. I think most Rangers fans, William, are accepting of that. I think if say 30 million come in for Raskin, right? Now I'm just saying 30 million. Can you turn it down? Of course you can't. You know, it depends on the interest in him. If clubs are only going to pay 10 million for him, I'd be more inclined to try and get him signed up and keep him there. It would need to be a big money offer for me, a really good big money offer.
Mm-hmm. Well, them lot across the city paid about 11 million, I think, for a player that can't even get near the Belgian squad at the minute. Nico Rosson's got himself in there, playing very well. Anytime you listen to the manager of Belgium, he actually seems very excited that because he's came out of nowhere, and it shows you It shows you though, Barry, is what I'm trying to say when we mentioned. Remember, as I said, EFD earlier. I know a lot of people, a lot of people, also a lot of supporters are excited. Some are a wee bit more he's useless. But the likes of Nico Rosson, he came in, he played well, then he went off form, and a lot of people, Barry, didn't care whether Nico played or not at one stage, if you remember back. And now he's the main man. So sometimes it just takes players a wee bit longer to blossom, you know.
I would just love to see him at least there another year. I think you know we'll put it this way. Look what he's doing with Belgium already and what he's built. I think if we were to tie him down in a new year and a new contract, could you imagine what he'd be worth in a year's time? You could be talking 40 to 50 million. Going by his current form and how well he's doing. Because if we were to qualify for the Champions League, could you imagine Raskin starring in the Champions League by us? The value just flies away up. Absolutely flies away up. You do take a gamble with that. You can sign a player in a 4 or 5 year deal and his form dips, and I just don't see it with this wee lad. The drive in him, I think, is going to propel him to even bigger heights. I really, really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, as I say, and I know sometimes all of us, anyone listening, we're going to have our blue tinted glasses on and think someone's better than what they are. But it is more the fact that he's went to, likes of the Belgian national team, and he's really playing well for them. He's now one, and that Belgian team, as we know, very good team. You know what I mean? And if you're in there and you're doing the business in that midfield, then yeah, why not? Dream sort of for the big money. I think it should be happening.
Well, if you look at it, he is keeping out of that squad 40 to 50 million pound players. They're not even getting in the squad because of players like Raskin getting brought in. The 40 to 50 million pound players that have been bought in the Premier League aren't even getting a sniff over Raskin at the minute. What does that tell you?
Mm-hmm.
Belgium
this is it, No, and I say they're always a good side, always a very close, but no cigar when it comes to actually lifting European or the World Cup. But they're always there. They're always at the late stage. You know what I mean?
But you can say that about teams. You can say that about teams like England and all too.
True.
That have just
that's very true.
Yeah,
no, 100%. So, Baz, we'll say we're 40 minutes in, so we'll sort of round it off about the manager chat. We'll try to leave this because there's that much to talk about today that obviously is guaranteed happening and has happened today. With Thelwell and stuff coming in, but it seems to be next few days there'll be a manager, and I think Thelwell actually said that today when he was chatting to Rangers TV and stuff, or the pressure that came out that we're going to be having hopefully someone in the next few days. I think it's going to be Ancelotti. What about yourself? What are you thinking? I think I want Ancelotti myself, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I had a feeling for ages that it was going to be Gerrard. I actually did think that was going to happen, but we can now erase that. That is not going to happen by all accounts, unless they're really dubious at the minute. If you're looking at the who's left in terms of who we believe is left, Ancelotti or Russell Martin, it's a no-brainer for me. Russell Martin doesn't get it. That's what I would say. For me, Ancelotti has a lot to prove. He has a lot to, he's been a first team coach at these clubs with his dad, but he's never been left the reins on his own in terms of him being the head figure. Now, what he does have is he's going to have a sporting director and technical directors around him to support him and help him. And if he brings a good number two in, I actually think Ancelotti will do well. We're talking about a new era. We're talking about new everything. I think Ancelotti fits into the new era. I don't think Russell Martin does. I think Russell Martin could drag us back a wee bit, and I don't want to see that happening. Russell Martin divided opinion when he was a player at Rangers, never mind being a manager. And Russell Martin actually did say that one time that a lot of Rangers fans didn't like him. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I personally think it's going. I think it's going to be Ancelotti. I would be happy if it's Ancelotti. I think the ties that he has with former clubs in Napoli and Bayern Munich and obviously Real Madrid, even Everton. I think I think we can tap into those markets, William. I think we can tap into some of them players that the rough diamonds that are there that are maybe not getting 100% exposure, and you can bring them in and make them better. I think that he's the manager who can do that. I think all Russell Martin will do is just make Rangers maybe a half decent team, but not really be able to attract too much to the club. I think Ancelotti will be able to do that. I think he'll be able to pull in that better player. So for me, Ancelotti, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I heard today he was somebody had said that found out that he was vegan, and I was like, well, I didn't like you much before. I really don't like you now. I don't want you in.
You're not going to you're not going to appease every single Rangers fan. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter who we were to bring in. If it was Gerrard, it would have divided opinion. If it's Ancelotti, it divides opinion. If it's Russell Martin, it divides opinion. If it's Sam Allardyce, if it's your favourite Neil Warnock, it doesn't matter who you bring in. Rangers fans will always have an opinion on the negative part of it as well. If you know what I mean, it wouldn't make a difference if it brought Jose Mourinho in. If it brought in Jurgen Klopp, there would be something wrong with one of them. So we've just got to trust the board that they're doing the right thing. They bring the right guy in, and it steers the ship to a title. And that's what our main aim is to win silverware. At least to be competing for the title. At least to be coming into the last 2 or 3 games where we've still a chance of actually winning it and not sitting 20 points behind. So,
Yeah.
I
Neil
don't know.
Warnock loyal.
Well, Neil Warnock would love it, but he would be useless.
I tell you, but no, I agree with you there. Like, I think the Ancelotti one is the exciting. It's the exciting, the one for me, and it's like it's a new era. You just want to. I don't know. It's like I was seeing his goodbye message to the Real Madrid fans, Barry, and if you read into it, it's literally like talking about Rangers because he was talking about the demands at this club and the demands to win, 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 win. The supporters, how massive they are globally, and I was sitting going, "Fuck me," that fits in, because he'll know. Oh well, you got a good result on Wednesday night, you got a good result away from home Wednesday. Happy days. What about Saturday? You gonna win? You better. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's the pressure at Real Madrid. And if he knows that pressure coming in, like, look, uh, that can only enhance us, I think, Barry, as well. Knowing that he's come in. And yes, it's different when you are the man. It's not your dad getting the shit. If it goes wrong, it's you. But
Oh,
you can,
absolutely. But if you look at, you look at the Luka Modric thing, right? And I'm not for once getting into the whole Luka Modric is coming to Rangers thing. But when you seen the Ancelotti link to Rangers, these were the players that were linked straight away. This is my point. When you look at Russell Martin, who's going to be linked with Russell Martin? Matt Letizia? You know what I mean? You're not going to get that caliber. If Ancelotti's coming there, you're automatically going to be linked with fringe players at Real Madrid. The likes of Luka Modric, they're the players that are going to be on automatically as the rumor mill goes nuts with Ancelotti. With Russell Martin, I don't see that happening. I can't see that same level of jubilance. You know what I mean? I don't see that
Mhm.
happening. I'm just hoping and praying it's Ancelotti over Russell Martin. I think
Yeah.
Ancelotti will be a good thing.
Yeah, no, I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen. I've seen there's a picture up of him on holiday and stuff, which is fair because like he's with his family. It's been a long, grueling season for everyone. But yeah, next few days, let's get it going. Um, well,
Well, there's big.
Colin Smith's put a comment in, but we'll go with Gary's first here, but just
Go with
because
Gary's first.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause it's about what we're talking about here. So Ancelotti with big Duncan assisting him. Let's go. What do you think of that, Baz?
Yeah, like Duncan Ferguson, as short a time he spent at Rangers, he still knows Rangers. You know what I mean? He still knows Rangers, and he's well alluded to how big Rangers should be. And look, who's going to argue with Big Duncan on the training pitch? I tell you, one word and he'll just fucking bang you. Like that'll be the end of you. Like you know what I mean? Big Duncan doesn't mess around. Ancelotti knows Duncan Ferguson well. There's a whole Everton thing going on here with Rangers at the minute. This whole ex Everton thing. But yeah. Listen, if Big Duncan Ferguson was to come along with Ancelotti, I actually think that would. I think that would be an exciting move.
Hmm. Well, we'll go to this one quickly as well. Only thing with Ancelotti is he's been involved with high demanding teams with Munich and Madrid, where success is a must every season. Whoever it is will be a risk because we can't wait until them lot get 8 or 9 for us to start
Yeah,
winning again. Exciting times ahead. Hopefully, yeah, get that 100%, David. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's all right. People saying, "Oh, he worked under his dad. He's under his dad," but you're sitting going to yourself, "Hold on." I mean, do you think the likes of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid are going to let someone in working so closely with their players that are getting hundreds of thousands a week just because, well, it's his son? That doesn't work like that.
William. What? How did Jose Mourinho learn? Jose Mourinho was a coach at all these different clubs, working under these big name managers. That's what he done when he first came through. And look what Jose Mourinho's won. He's done what Ancelotti's done. He was a coach at all these clubs, never the big high profile name, was never a great football player. But he look what he became. Look where he is now and what he's done. That's a big thing.
Mm-hmm. There's Jonathan saying Ancelotti is going to bring Raheem Sterling in as a lone player. There's a rumor for you. What do you think of that one?
Uh, definitely a player on the decline. Massive high wages, by the way. Raheem Sterling. If you could get a turnout of Raheem Sterling, he would certainly get a lot of headlines up in Scotland by going to Rangers. Don't know about him. I've seen him in the Premier League. He went to Arsenal there. He didn't do much. Don't know, Jonathan, about that one. I'm not sure. Not sure about Raheem Sterling.
Great player in his day, though, too, was he? You know what I think is what happens? A lot of these players, Barry, same as Dele Alli and all these players, they're young, they're very good. See, when you're getting that crazy amount of money, was he not doing the shaving? Or Rhyme Sterling was what when you're doing. I can't remember what advertising and stuff he was doing. I think their brain goes off the football. You get that much money, and then you know what I mean. They're not as committed as they once were, and you see they just start to go down, down, down.
That's why Man City let him go in the first place. Pep Guardiola, when he sees players in the decline, he automatically gets them out, and I think that's just what happened there. To be honest with you, listen,
Yeah,
he
it's
could
trying
probably
to.
do he could probably do well in Scotland. I mean, he's still a good player. What I'm saying is, he's not the Raheem Sterling of 6, 7 years ago.
No, definitely not. But he wouldn't be anywhere near us if he was. But can he play on
No,
plastic pitches? Oh, that's the big question.
who
Can
knows?
he play on that plastic pitches? Stephen Thomas says can't be any worse than the last few managers we've had. Give him a few quid and let him spend it. Yep.
Exactly.
We'll go up to Colin Smith because Colin put in a comment ages ago, but obviously we've been talking with the Ancelotti, so we're stuck with that one. We need a new keeper. Or Colin Smith says we need a new keeper as well, as Bolton's not good enough, too many mistakes, and Kelly is only a good backup. What's your thoughts on that, Baz?
Yeah, I would keep Kelly as a backup. I think that's a good point. I think he's a very good backup keeper. He's not a number one for me. Jack Butland for me, his form over the last season has been terrible. His form since we've been talking about this all season, is that when Jack Butland didn't get the call up for the England squad for the Euros, then that was a major. His form completely dipped after that, and he's never really recovered. He's had a few good games where he's done some fantastic saves, but he's had some of the worst clangers I've seen in years. And one thing that Rangers have always been good at is having good goalkeepers. We've always been used to having top goalkeepers. Well, you remember, obviously, McGregor, Gorm, Klaus, Chris Woods, all these top keepers over the years. And would you put Butland in that same bracket? No, you wouldn't. Time to go for Butland.
There you go, cut through. But see, the thing
Ruthless.
is, too, Baz. See, the thing is, too, Baz. It comes back to what we were saying earlier. Not having the guts as a team, not having the belief as a club to sell at the right time. If you remember when I think it was Nottingham Forest came in, it was a late bid, and we didn't have the confidence to sell. When it was maybe as soon as we should have just went, you know what, we got him for nothing. Fuck me, those Forest, they're mad Premier League money. They wanted to buy him here for what I think it was 12. I can't remember exactly if I could say 12, whatever it was, but we didn't sell because we're like, no, we can't sell. We have this thing in our brains as Rangers. We just, oh no, you can't. Oh, everything falls apart. Instead of looking at it and going, fucking 12 million, go. And you know what I mean? But that's what we need to be more accepting of now, don't we?
And that's where you can be quite contradictory when you talk about Nico Roskin, because
Mm-hmm.
the same thing could happen. The only thing I would say about Roskin is he's a young player and he's not even near his peak yet. Whereas I think Jack Butland has probably been to his peak. For me, I mean, I listened before about Jack Butland where he says, he wants Rangers to go to his aspirations, to go to where he, that sort of way. And I'm thinking, if
Mm-hmm.
that's your high aspirations, we're fucked because, it's the truth. Because if that's the highest level he wants to take Rangers, then he needs to go and do one. You're right, but William, I was on that gravy train with Butland. I didn't want Butland to go. But you know why? I'll tell you the reason. We've had very little stars in that club. You're hanging on to some of these players, William, for grim death. We haven't, it's
Mm-hmm.
not like we've got 11, 12 brilliant players and you're thinking, well, we can let one or two go. When you're looking at that time, you were looking at Butland and you're talking about Nico Raskin, where's all the other top players around them? So you hold on till them tight. You know what I mean? That's what you do. See years ago when we had from Broncos, right? We had Arthur Newman, Ronald De Boer. We had all these top Rickson. We had all these top players around him. So when he was sold, it was like, yeah, well, sort of knew that was coming, but we've still got these great players here. If you look at
Yeah.
selling Raskin at the minute, you look around and go, who's going to replace him? Or, who else around him is at that level? So that's for me. That's the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm. 100%. I'll say we're coming up to the hour mark now. And just a quick, for anyone that's listening live and anyone that'll be listening afterwards, if you wouldn't mind, and we would really appreciate if you can go onto your YouTube and give us a wee subscribe on that, even if you're watching through Facebook or Patreon or anything, please, it's just hands across the water, 1872. You'll find us on YouTube because we're trying our best to get as much subscribers as possible on that. And a few wee shares as well, if you don't mind. We would really, really appreciate that. We'll just, Jonathan McCausey, we'll let this be the last comment of the night.
That's
Just
an
think we
interesting
paid
one.
12 million for Flo a few years ago. Will we break it this season? What do you think, boss?
I don't know if it'll be this season. I don't know if it'll be this particular window. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, see what Jonathan's saying. We will break that. Rangers will break that 12 million barrier, 100%. They will do it, William. I'm not so sure in this window. I think it's going to take a couple of windows with too many players we need to bring in. You see, when you're spending 12 million or more, that's adding that one top quality player to a good squad you've already got. We have a lot of players to bring in, so I don't think that's going to happen immediately. But believe me, these guys will spend. They will spend more than 12 million, definitely within the next 2 to 3 windows, 100%.
Well, I'm going to clip this to make sure I can bring this back bar and prove you're right or wrong.
I'll be right.
uh, I think we could too. I honestly think we could, but yeah, we'll wait and see. It'll be interesting to see what way they go. But here,
Why?
why not? If the right player comes at the right age and you really believe that you can make money on them after a season or two, yeah, it can happen. No
Will not
problem.
spend that type of money on a player over 25. I think it will
No,
be a
no,
younger
no.
player, and I definitely William think it's going to happen. But what I'm saying is I don't believe it's this window. I definitely don't. I think what we need to do is we probably need to qualify for the Champions League group stages to probably spend that money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, see when you're guaranteed
Yeah.
the income, generating that huge. That's what they did across the city when they've been generating this money from Champions League. They were able to go out and spend 12 million on a player, 9 million on a player in the same window. We
Yeah.
need to get there. We need to get to there, and then spend that type of money.
Yeah, so just to end it here, Gary Hines. So I'm wearing a Weekend Offender top here. I don't know if any of you can see that. Gary Hines says most of our players
Yeah.
last season should have been wearing the same T-shirt as William, as they offended me pretty much every weekend. You and me too, brother. New manager will want his own team, big changes hopefully. And you know what? On that, we will leave it at that. I think that just says it perfect. Big changes hopefully is right. Hopefully when we're next talking to you, we'll have a new manager in. As I say, we will try and do more short videos. No, we're still trying to learn Barry how to do these short videos on the YouTube, so we can keep putting content out. But as I say, we're two working dads, and we do try our best, but we just can't always be on live, unfortunately, all the time. But we do try.
And I think I think we need to get Jonathan on, or David. We need to get them on here as well, because I think we can get a bit of good content with them boys too.
100%. That's it. As I say,
And
we'll get that sorted as well.
by the way, William, there's no reason why Mr. Hines can't make a guest appearance as well. So that's on you, Gary. We're watching you. We're waiting on you making a wee guest appearance.
Yes, Gary, come on. A lot of enthusiasm today. Get it on. We want to hear your was it dulcet tones? Is that the words for it? But yeah, that's the same. We'll try and get a wee pod going of a few of our followers, like Jonathan. If we can talk like David round and Beansy, Gary Heinzer, well, we could all do maybe 4 or 5 at the same, just having a great chat and a great laugh and bantering back and forth. Ulster Bears together. That's just the way we are. We're very truthful. We're very honest. Brutally honest sometimes, but we love our club and we want the best for our club at all times. So I'll just say thank you very much for anyone that is listening live. Thank you for anyone that will be listening afterwards. As I say, go on to our YouTube channel and please just share the link on if you do have time to do that, and a wee subscribe would be absolutely fantastic. So thank you for listening, and we'll be back with you very soon.